Hey there, today we're gonna be working on connecting the drain lines for this bathroom sink. And as we do this, I'm gonna show you how to make this connection, whether you have a drain line that lines up perfectly with the sink or one that's offset like this one that I have here. And towards the end, I'm gonna show you why you should never use one of these flexible drain lines. For this install, you're going to need a P-trap kit. Generally, they come in either inch and a half or inch and a quarter. For bathrooms, we're gonna be using a inch and a quarter P-trap kit. This is a very simple part of the install. Simply lay out the parts just like in the diagram shown in the kit. Then loosely assemble everything so you can have an idea what additional parts you need. There are two things you notice right away with this setup. Obviously is that the drain does not line up perfectly with the house drain. And we're gonna address that in a minute. But first, you gotta look at the height of this wall tube. It's just a bit higher than your house drain, which means this connection is not gonna happen. To make that happen, you need to get an extension tube. They make these in 6, 9, 12 inches. So make sure you get one that's long enough to bring this whole setup down to where the wall tube lines up perfectly with the drain. So let's go ahead and remove the P-trap and insert the extension tube into the drain body. And then we'll place the P-trap kit right next to the tube. We then can mark it off where we need to cut it. These tubes can be cut with a sawzall, a hacksaw, or a multi-tool. Once you have all of these cut, you reassemble everything back together and check the fittings. And now that we got this far, it's time to work on the wall connections. If you have room to cut that off and glue an elbow, I recommend you do that. That way you keep this connection tighter to the wall. If you are like me, you don't have any more pipe left to be cut, the next best option is to use a female coupling. We're gonna thread this onto the wall, and from there we use an elbow to kick it out, lining up with the wall tube. First, I tried lining up the wall tube using a 22.5-degree elbow. This did not make the wall tube go straight in to the fitting. So then I tried a 45-degree elbow, and this worked much better. So whenever you go to the store to buy your parts, make sure to pick up both options because you never know which one you're gonna need. Then I primed and glued both parts together. When doing this, make sure to keep the slope away from the sink. After this, I glued a male adapter right on the end. Take the P-trap and line it up with the drain. Then you mark it and cut it. Now we're ready to assemble everything back together, but don't tighten everything just yet. Now it's time to tie down all the nuts. And the sequence you tie them down is pretty important. The first and most important nut is the one between the wall tube and the end of the P-trap. Make sure that this one is completely tied before you move to any of the other nuts. The next one here, it's the one between the extension tube and the P-trap. And then we move on to the one between the wall tube and the wall. And lastly, the one between the drain body and the extension tube. Now make sure that you run plenty of water on the lines and you check for leak. And whenever you're working on these lines, never use flexible drain lines. There are two reasons why I don't like them. And both has to do with the construction of the drain lines. Because of these ribs, these lines will collect dirt, grime, hair. That's going to generate odor inside your bathroom. And for a similar reason, if you ever need to plunge or send a snake down the drain on your sink, these ribs are gonna make them much more difficult. So don't use this. As far as this project, I still need to run water lines inside the vanity. If you're working on the water lines for your bathroom, I recommend you checking out this video where I show you the best methods to stub out your water lines. I hope you learned something in this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.